Hello, sixth graders. Welcome back to history class. We are going to be on page 132 in your book and on page 77 in your SAM. Now, we don't have a organizer page for this section of the chapter, so we're going to use page 77, the middle column on Buddhism, to help organize our thoughts. So, let's talk about Buddhism. Around 500 BC, there was a man who began to question the teachings of Hinduism, and his questions led him to develop a new religion. This man's name was Siddhartha Gautama. That's about as good as well as I can pronounce it. Did I spell that correctly? Double checking. Yes, Siddhartha Gautama. He was very dissatisfied with Hindu beliefs. He was not a fan. He didn't like the caste system. He didn't like the way the priests ruled over the people. The Hindus believed that only people in the priestly caste were going to reunite with Brahman, and Gautama could not accept that. He could not accept that that would be true, and so he decided to change his beliefs. He changed his name to Buddha, which means enlightened one, and he began to develop and then introduce what he called the Four Noble Truths. Now, in Buddhism, salvation or enlightenment really depends on your good works and your right thinking. We're going to talk about that a little bit more, but it depends on good works and right thinking. Okay, now, the Four Noble Truths are in your book on page 133, and there are several different translations of this, but it boils down to the first one is everyone suffers. There is suffering, it's everywhere. The second one is that suffering is caused by desire. Your desire for anything is what causes suffering. The third noble truth is that the only way to get rid of suffering is to get rid of all desires. Anything you want, right? That's a desire. You've got to get rid of all your desires. That's the only way to end suffering. And the last noble truth is that you can get rid of your desires if you follow the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path is on page 133, and we are going to talk about that in a little bit more detail. Okay, so on 133, in one of the greenish blue boxes, you have your Eightfold Path. I'm going to give you another translation of the Eightfold Path that will probably, or I hope, help you understand it even a little more clearly. So the first one says, know and believe the Four Noble Truths. The one I have lists everything with the word right or correct. Okay, so the Eightfold Path is number one, and this is a little bit simpler than the way your book has it. That's why I'm kind of going over it. Hopefully, it will help you understand it a little bit better. So as I'm going through these, I want you to look at the one on page 133 and kind of process that with me. So the first one is right views or correct views. This means seeing the world through the Four Noble Truths and understanding the Four Noble Truths. The second one is right resolve, that you want to behave correctly and justly, and you are resolved You've decided to behave correctly. The third noble truth is right speech. This means always telling the truth and speaking kindly to other people. The fourth is right conduct. This is just being good, acting properly, living a moral life, avoiding evil as much as possible. Number 5 is right livelihood. This means having a job that supports a moral life. Okay, so you can't be a career criminal and be a good Buddhist. You have to have a job that supports your life to be a good person. Number 6 is right effort. So not only have you decided to be good, but you're trying to be good, actively trying to keep your mind focused on what is good and right in the world. Number 7 is right mindfulness. That is paying attention to what you think and what you feel and trying to keep focused or thinking positive, healthy thoughts. And then 8, right concentration. This one is meditating as Buddha did to reach nirvana. So those are the Eightfold Paths. It's kind of interesting when you look at it to see how some of these things are pretty close to some of the things we do as Christians, right? We are supposed to live a good moral life, but Buddha got it backwards, right? According to the Bible, we live a good moral life because of what God's done for us. In Buddhism, you can't be enlightened unless you live a good life. So do you see the difference? It's backwards. In Buddhism, your ultimate goal is, it's not quite like salvation. Our book says your ultimate goal or salvation. The way to get rid of all suffering and to live in eternal peace is to reach nirvana. To reach nirvana. Nirvana is the state of complete enlightenment where you have all peace and freedom from all desires. So you're at total peace. There's no more suffering because there's nothing you want. You've eliminated all your desires. Buddhism has its own scriptures, the Mahavastu, the Jataka tales, the Tantras, and there are a lot of different things. One of the big differences is the difference between Eastern meditation, Hindu meditation and Buddhist meditation, versus Christian meditation. In Christian meditation, what we're supposed to do is meditate on the scriptures. And so you pick a Bible verse and you think about what God has told you. In Buddhist meditation, you are supposed to meditate on riddles or pleasant thoughts in order to empty your mind of desires. The goal of Eastern meditation is to empty your mind, whereas the goal of Christian meditation is to fill your mind. Relationships and beliefs about the family. There are 6 relationships. One of them is between parents and children, another between husband and wife. And when you fulfill your responsibilities, you can have peace and you can have harmony without suffering. And so that is Buddhism. Buddhism was very popular in India, especially among the lower castes and the untouchables, because Buddhism was not based on your caste. Everyone had an equal opportunity to be enlightened. I forgot to talk about this right here between nirvana and riddles on your page. I'm going to talk about it right now. Buddhism says, if you don't get it right this time, that's okay. You get another life. So they do believe in reincarnation. But it's not like the Hindus in that if you don't get it right this time, you come back as a lower caste or even as a lower animal. You just continue to live multiple lives until you finally reach nirvana. This was something that gave hope to the lower classes. It's actually that way with Christianity in India. Many of the higher caste Hindus believe that Christianity is a religion for lower caste people because it gives hope to the lower castes, right? Because in Christianity, we understand that Jesus has paid the price for everyone, and it's not our own works that have saved us, but his perfect life. And so Buddhism, in the same way, gave these lower caste Hindus a hope of a better life and of something different. And that's one of the reasons it became so widespread. A little bit later on, we are going to learn about how that happened. Specifically, we'll talk about the Mauryan Empire. But now what I want you to do is you're going to finish page 77, right? So we've done the middle column, the column on Buddhism. So for the column on Hinduism, you're going to find all the answers that you need for that on pages 126 to 129. Be sure to read everything that's on the page, not just the regular text, but in the boxes on the page. For instance, a lot of the information you'll need is in the little box on page 127. So you'll be able to finish that. Then on the right, the passages on Christianity, you're going to need your Bible for that to complete that passage. So in class, we'll be doing that in class, and I want you to do that at home if you're not in class tomorrow. And we will finish that up, and then on Wednesday, we will talk about the Mauryan Empire, which is, I think, very interesting, and we will talk about possibly get to India's golden age, and we may, in fact, even finish this chapter up by the end of the week, which means next week will be study guide and test. So I will see you later.